Okay, so this is my spoiler review of the new Apple TV Plus film Greyhound. This was directed by Schneider. It was actually written by Tom Hanks. It's based off a historical fiction novel, The Good Shepherd, which was published in 1955, and it stars Tom Hanks as Navy Commander Ernest Krause. What really hurts this film is in its release because it was originally scheduled to be released by Sony in theaters. It clearly is a theater-esque type movie that you'd want to see on the big screen, and because of COVID, they had to sell it to Apple. So as I was watching this film just on my TV at home, I just had to accept that this is definitely paling in the comparison of seeing a film like this on the big screen, and that will definitely hurt the effect of it on the audience. So on paper, this is a really interesting story about this Navy commander because it's his first time actually leading this huge convoy at the beginning of World War II, a battle that's not really talked about enough, the Battle of Atlantic, and having to protect all these merchant ships from these German submarines and U-boats, and the big conflict here being that there is no air coverage in this area they call the Black Pit. And this movie jumps right into the action. You get a little bit of backstory for like a second with the commander here, where Tom Hanks is with Elisabeth Shue. You see it's the woman he wants to marry, and she kind of rejects him and wants to make sure that all this crazy stuff in the world is over before they settle down. But the odd thing about this is it kind of sets the stage for this film being a little cheesy in a sense. It kind of feels like a 90s film. And what I mean by that is not taking place in the 90s, but it feels like it's something you'd watch made in the 90s, because there's this constant little cheesy thing they throw in with him praying all the time, which is fine, but none of this really has any great payoff. And even the story introduced with the woman he wants to marry, you knew from a mile away in the writing that when he said, when she comes around the corner, it's the greatest feeling in the world for him, you knew they were going to end the movie on that and her coming around the corner. So that was strange how simple that was, especially for Tom Hanks writing it. And the score, too, had a lot of cheese in it. And it was kind of on repetition where you would have, oh no, here comes someone attacking again, and then the crazy drums kick in. You get the overhead shots, and then Tom Hanks just going in circles on this boat. You can see Tom Hanks was really concerned about making sure the dialogue, how he's portraying how this actually was accurate. And you see that because so much Navy jargon is in here that it's hard to even follow and understand what's going on. And what hurts is if you go that route where it's so realistic, you better hope the whole environment you're seeing visually is like that. And it clearly isn't. I mean, I was watching this film and wondering, why does the water even just look so fake? Like, the CGI here isn't great, and it takes me out of it a lot because I never didn't feel like I was watching a movie. Like, I never was sucked in so much by what I'm seeing visually that I'm like, oh my God, like I was so taken in by this whole story. I just kept thinking this is a ship in a studio lot with this fake water around it. That was really weird, and it felt like it was taking CGI from like a Michael Bay movie or like that Battleship movie with Rihanna and throwing it in around a very serious subject and historical subject, and where the writing was so focused on making it realistic, but the outside is just another blockbuster movie. It almost felt like, too, with this story that it was running on a video game timeline. What I mean by that is, like, it felt like it was a mission you'd see in like a Call of Duty game. Even the little narrations coming in and out from the Nazis or just from other ships. Like, good job, Captain. More food for the fish. Like, it plays like that. And it's just cheesy. And honestly, I feel like Tom Hanks was so concerned about being so accurate to how they would be talking on a mission like this at that time that I wish he actually took more liberties to make sure also that it was a little more understandable for just the average moviegoer and someone who isn't totally fluid in Navy dialect, and was also concerned about keeping the story fluid and entertaining, because the script ended up just feeling like you're reading a Navy manual. And there's no real characters here except Tom Hanks's character. I think the only side story that worked was the one with Cleveland, who was the chef who he actually prayed with and never ate the food he gave him because this guy wouldn't eat, he wouldn't sleep, he was so uptight. And then he noticed he lost him, which I think worked, and the whole funeral part was good. But the rest of the characters are like just pawns in the game here. They're just all walking robots in a sense. And I wish I just felt a little more, maybe had some other characters have some kind of attachment to you as the audience member. And the movie's only an hour and a half, which is pretty rare for something that's based off history. And it kind of feels like a war movie that just keeps all the battle sequences in and cuts out the rest. It's strange in that sense. Maybe there is an audience for this, though. I think there's a lot of people who like this movie if they're really into action, and I think a lot of the action sequences work. I really actually like the sound design and the sound mixing. I felt all of it, even on my TV screen, so that says something. And it feels like a movie that when you were a kid, and let's say you watch a movie like Titanic, what I would do is I would fast forward through the adult dialogue and content and then just go to the ship sinking part and watch that. I think this felt like someone took a longer film, a war film, took out all those parts about character and just threw in the action. So I definitely think there's people who are going to enjoy it for that and just want it for that. They get to see Tom Hanks run around and all these explosions. Cool, but at the end of the day, it's not a great film. It's handling half the battle here in making a good movie, but leaving out the rest. And I'm trying to say that I'm biased too, because I really do love action films, and I just think that if they just tweaked the little things here, it could have been much better, and just put a little more effort into the characters, especially even Tom Hanks' character, because you only set up the thing with his wife and that he's new at this, which was cool, and that he's just and he's got to make decisions that he's not even so sure about, and they cast it around him well with just, these baby face type guys, so it also showed how young some of these people were during that time in war. But again, it just felt lazy, and just coming around with Elisabeth Shue at the end, I don't know, it didn't really do anything for me. Probably even play better is just a video you throw on in a history class to just show a battle. And this is a historical fiction story, but if you're going off something in World War II, you can't get obsessed with making it so accurate, and I think Tom Hanks did. I think he must have been a little worried that, someone's going to think I'm taking too many liberties, but that's part of the game here in movie making, right? So I think some points you have to do that. It's inevitable to make sure that your audience is still engaged. If you want to see a great movie with Tom Hanks on a ship, watch Captain Phillips instead. That has it all. Or this just has some. So I think a fair score for this film would be a 5.8. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it down below. Maybe you loved it, maybe you hated it. I read every comment, try to respond to as many as I can. And please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss one of my movie reviews. I also do TV reviews and celebrity interviews as well. I can use any subscriber I can get. And please follow me at SteveVarley1 on Twitter and Instagram for more of me. And I'll see you next time.